Hey man, without further ado, man, let's hop into topic number one. Let's get into it. So, Keith One Time Thurman finally entered the ring again last weekend against Mario Barrios. Now, the fight, from what the judges saw, ended up being a shutout by Keith Thurman. Mario Barrios was a warrior. He came after Thurman. He did the best that he could, but nonetheless, Thurman overall was just on a different level than Mario Barrios. So Q, it kind of, I think, was what a lot of people expected. I don't think too many people expected Keith Thurman to get upset by Mario Barrios. But bruh, tell me after what you saw transpire, what is next for Keith Thurman, man? What is the play for the man out of St. Petersburg? Hopefully he doesn't go away into hiding on us in another hiatus and disappear the rest of 2022. But now that he's gotten fight number one out of the way in February, what's next for Keith One Time Thurman in your opinion?
That's a very good question, man. Personally, I think that fight, first I'm going to say that fight wasn't the walkthrough out there. I think that he probably thought it was. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, and like I said in the previous pod, I really think that he want the biggest bag. And I'm not, and for what I saw in that fight, man, I don't really, he got some rounds in, he got some good rounds in. That could have been part of the strategy, but it was a dominant performance, but it was a lot closer than I expected. And I really felt like I want to see him get in there and really get him out of there, since this man came from one. Even though he was bigger than Thurman at the weigh-in,
Right.
Maybe he was weight drained in the tank fight. I don't know, but Mario Barrios is a big boy. He was towering over Keith Thurman, but in the fight, he even hurt Keith Thurman to the body, which we all seen many times. And let me give a quote by Air the Truth Spence. Thurman, you tailor-made for me. You are tailor-made. Thurman is the body. I mean, I'm not Thurman, but
tailor-made. Hey, tailor-made like a three-piece suit, huh?
Errol Spence is the body snatcher, man. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, he would jab to the body, hook to the body. So I just feel like if maybe that's the fight. Maybe that's the fight to be made next. They on PBC. So if I had to guess, I think that Errol Spence will probably be in the driver's seat to get that fight if he could get past you guys. Unless somehow, because like I said before, he's in the driver's seat to get the Bud Crawford fight, or the fight with Errol Spence. The win out of the two out of him and you guys. You know what I'm saying? So it remains to be seen. It's still a lot of things that had to be in the play. But personally, that's what I think, and I think he's gonna go. I think he's gonna. If he don't overprice himself, because I think he's knowing that time is ticking away, in my opinion. And both of them guys go to the body real well. That's his vulnerability. And his power didn't really look the same to me, I expect for him to, at least after we seen what Tank did, I would, styles make fights, and it just looked like that fight was a lot tougher fight, even though he outskilled. His movement was too much, but it was a lot more competitive than I expected, especially as the fight went on,
Right. Yeah, man, I agree with you. I actually do think that we end up seeing the Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence fight, man. I actually, as much as Errol Spence has talked about not liking Keith Thurman and refusing to fight Keith Thurman because of, essentially how Keith Thurman did him when Spence was on the come up and wanting to crack at him, I really think that it only makes sense on the PBC side, and along with Al Heyman, to stay in-house again and end up possibly freezing Bud out another year. I really don't see Keith Thurman going with the Bud Crawford fight. I really see it being more advantageous for him to roll with Errol Spence. But I will say this, man, and even though the judges had it by a wide margin, I agree with you, bro, that it was more competitive than I expected. Mario Barrios was a very great opponent for Keith Thurman. But from what I see, man, honestly, man, I'd like to see Keith Thurman actually fight another person in the summer to get a few more rounds in, because right now, from what I saw in the Barrios fight, he's absolutely not ready for a Errol Spence Jr. or a Terrence Bud Crawford. So I think the real show that will let us know if Keith Thurman really hasn't fully faded after having such a long hiatus would be another fight. You got some rounds in against Barrios. We knew he was coming up from 140, so you knew he wasn't going to be that much of a danger, even though he came in the bigger guy. But now stay active, stay in the gym, immediately go back in the gym, maybe take a couple weeks off, and then come back in like June or July against maybe another step up opponent and see if you can then possibly get that fighter out of there. But also, again, I agree with the point on Errol Spence Jr., man, and Bud Crawford. I'm going to tell you, with that body that Keith Thurman has, I don't know what it is, but we repeatedly over and over have seen him hurt to the body and have to get on his bicycle in the middle of fights.
And he spit his mouthpiece out again.
Right. And I'm going to tell you, if there's any fighter, if there's any two fighters, but for sure, Errol Spence and Terrence Bud Crawford are going to dig down south to that body. And I think right now, if he goes right into that fight against either of them, that, bruh, I just see Keith Thurman not coming out victorious because they're going to blast that body, man. And I don't think Keith Thurman can hold up to an onslaught of body shots. So we'll see what happens, man. Honestly, I hope that Keith Thurman feels like he wants a few more rounds before he goes into Spence or Bud, because I feel like he needs it. But we'll see, man, with the PBC side, bro, if there's anything else that they want to do before going right into a Bud or Errol Spence fight. So, you know, we'll see how that flows. But now let's get into